So today I am making my favorite chocolate oatmeal cookies. I've combined a couple of recipes, my favorite chocolate chip recipe and my favorite oatmeal cookie recipe. So you want to start with a mixer with the mixing blade on. If you don't have a mixer, you can obviously do this all by hand also. You want to make sure that your butter is softened. A lot of people make cookies with butter that is unsalted, but I like to put the butter that has the salt in it. I think it has more flavor. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that in there and I'm going to beat it, and then I'm going to add my sugars. So we got to plug it in. I'll beat the butter. I want to cream my butter, and then I'm going to start adding my sugars. So it's nice and creamed. And then we had half a cup of butter, and we're going to add a half a cup of sugar, and then a cup of brown sugar. So you're going to cream your sugars with your butter, half a cup of sugar, and a cup of brown sugar. And you want to pack the brown sugar down. And fill that up. Okay. Alrighty. So I'm going to cream those. Make sure I lock my mixer. And as you're mixing, you can push the sugar and the butter down along the way. Get that all mixed in there nicely. We want to really let it cream for about 5 minutes. Long enough to get the sugars to meld with the butter. So we've got a few more minutes. You can also add your vanilla. I happen to have vanilla sugar, which I'm going to use today instead of vanilla extract. I'm going to add 2 eggs to that, and I'm going to keep creaming that together. And in the meantime, I've measured out a cup and a half of flour. You're going to have a teaspoon of baking soda, and I'm going to place this in a sifter, and I'm going to sift all this together. And I have a paper towel underneath it so I can dump that into my mixture. A teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a little extra there, and then just to add a little bit of healthiness to these, I'm going to add a teaspoon of chia. So I want to stop this, push everything down, make sure it's nice and creamy before I start adding my flours and my oatmeal. These beautiful old-fashioned oats. You can use the instant oats, but I find that the old-fashioned oats give it a better, heartier flavor. Okay, so my mixture is all mixed together. I'm going to get this blade out of the way a little bit. And then what you're going to do is you're going to alternate sifting in some flour and then adding your oats. So just add, a cup or so at a time, and then slowly mix it in. Okay, I'm going to keep doing that till all this gets incorporated, sifting in my flour mixture, adding another cup, so we've got 3 cups total of the oats going in. And you're going to see it get thicker and thicker as we go along here. Mix it in nicely. And you can do this with a spoon if you don't have a mixer. Okay, I'm going to add the last bit of the flour. Oh, let me get that blade out of the way so it's on the other side. There we go. So I have a little more room for my flour to go in. she is are going to give it a nice crunch. So I had my sifter, you can use a plate too, on my paper towel. I'm just going to throw the rest of that flour in there. And then my last cup of oats. Get that mixed in. Lock it down so it doesn't jump up. And then as I'm getting the last bit of the oats mixed in, I'm going to add about a cup of cranberries, about a cup of white chocolate chips. You can use the dark chocolate chips, but I find the white chocolate chips go better with cranberry. And I use the dark chocolate chips with raisins. So if you have raisins and dark chocolate chips, you could do that. And then I'm going to add about a half a cup of walnuts, chopped walnuts. So let me stop that and push this down. Getting nice and thick. Oh, this is going to be so good. Oh, perfect consistency. I'm going to mix it just a little more. And we'll start putting it on our cookie sheets. The oven is preheated at 375. Okay. Alrighty, so I'm going to get that out of there. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, get that off there. Clean this off. This is when, if you have a child in the home or a husband who likes to lick the mixer, go ahead and give it to him. It's so good. All right. I'm gonna get a nice tablespoon so that all my cookies are the same size. And we're gonna start putting them on my cookie sheet. So they're all about the same size. And you want to put them a couple inches apart so when they spread out they don't touch. So I like to try to get all the cookies in the oven at the same time, and it doesn't take quite so long. I have all my cookie sheets loaded up. I'm going to place them in the oven, and you notice how there's 3 levels. So what I'm going to do is they're going to be in there for about 12 minutes, but I'm going to put them on 6 minutes and then rotate them. We'll put our kitchen timer on 6 minutes. Total of 12, depending on how hot your oven runs. And we'll check those in about 6 minutes. Timer's gone off. I'm going to set them for another 6 minutes. And go in and turn them. Just because, even though I have a convection oven, they're different levels. And you kind of want to check them and make sure. There we go. The ones at the bottom are looking pretty done, so I'm going to take them out. And checking these, yep, they're ready to come out. And then let's check our top layer. I think they could go for a couple more minutes. We'll leave those in there while we let these cool a little bit so that we can get them off of the cookie sheet. Now I have not greased the cookie sheets, and I have these little racks here that I'm going to let them cool on. Now if you don't have racks, it's okay, you can use plates. For years I didn't have racks and I just used a plate. So I'm going to let them cool off just a little bit so that they get a little harder so I can get them off the cookie sheets. So I've let them cool just a little bit so that I can start placing them on my racks to cool off completely. And the other great thing about these oatmeal cookies that I love, I'm sure you can do it with any cookies, is what I'll do is once they're completely cooled, I'll put them in a Ziploc bag, and then I'll put them in the freezer, and then when we want one, we'll just pop it in the microwave for about 30 seconds, and we'll have a hot, fresh cookie. And it actually stops me from eating cookies all day long because they're in the freezer and I can't get to them as quick. So it's a nice way to control your cookie eating. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to having these with a cup of tea tonight after dinner. Can't wait. Whoop. Oatmeal, cranberry, white chocolate, walnut chip